welcome everybody, and do I have something cool to show you today. This right here is our brand new racing rig. I've been using it to play all those really cool arcade and racing sim games. And let me tell you, we've been having a blast. In this review I'm going over, of course, the cockpit I use, but also the wheels and the pedals. We'll also talk about what systems I'm using, and we'll hit on the pros and cons, and whether I think it's really worth building this for yourself. And then we're going to finish it off with some gameplay. So let's get into it right now. So you may be asking yourself, what made me want to build a full racing cockpit in the first place? Now, while it is true I've been having a lot of fun making videos for the Thrustmaster Ferrari 458 Spider racing wheel, and I do feel it's a good choice for beginners who just want to play around and see if they enjoy racing games with a racing wheel. I do also have an arcade room with lots of arcade 1-up machines. And arcade 1-up has released a few racing cabs I have been interested in, the newest being the Fast and Furious. Now when this thing launched, it got a lot of flack for not being a full arcade game, and really just being one game split into two. But even with all that, I thought it was a cool looking cab. And I thought to myself, if the price ever went down, I'd think about buying it. Well, this past holiday season, it did go down in price. I had just earned enough points on the Best Buy credit card, and I was waiting for those points to drop in so I could buy it. But when finally they dropped in, the cab was sold out. So instead, I decided to buy a new racing wheel. So I asked my wife if she would mind I got that instead. She said she was fine with it as long as I got the whole setup. I said, deal. And so the quest to build a new racing setup began. The first step was deciding what racing wheel I wanted. I've been using the Thrustmaster wheel for a while, and it is a good brand. But I kept seeing this new Logitech wheel in stores, but it was a little pricey. I tried to look for something cheaper. I even found something when I visited Micro Center in Detroit. They had this one combo that had the wheel, pedals, and shifter for $99. I was about to get it, but then I decided to ask an employee about it. He proceeded to tell me it was utter trash and they get returned a lot. He told me if I really wanted one, just buy an open box one. But he highly recommended that I save my money and buy one of those Logitech wheels. So that's what I decided to do. The wheel I ultimately chose was a Logitech G923 for the PlayStation. This wheel is similar to the one that B-Kong uses in his racing setup, but he is using the Logitech G29 driving force racing wheel. The main difference is that the G923 has something called TRUEFORCE and the G29 doesn't. But the G29 also is compatible with PC, PS3, PS4, and PS5, whereas the G923 does not have PS3 support. The TRUEFORCE isn't widely used yet, and it adds an extra little feedback with vibration in the wheel, which honestly so far isn't that big of a deal. There's a $50 to $100 difference in price between the G29 and the G923, so compatibility with older titles with the G29 versus newer features with the G923 will be the deciding factors when you decide between the two. So am I happy with my choice? Absolutely. This wheel is awesome. It is a huge jump from the Thrustmaster, and having the force feedback is a game changer. As a starter wheel for racing sims and arcade racing, I could not be happier. I do recommend mounting it though, because the G923 is very powerful and tends to come loose if all you do is screw it to a desk. The next thing we added was the Logitech G driving force shifter. The shifter isn't the best out there, but it gets the job done. It makes the whole experience way more fun, and there's plenty of mods out there for it if you want to improve its look and feel if you don't think it's perfect. All in all, it's a great addition and it adds to the fun factor, but it's not necessary. Now picking out the racing cockpit wasn't an easy task. I didn't want something super cheap, because the number one thing my wife asked was that it looked nice. I also wanted a TV mount, but that seemed to jack up the price to $200 on every setup I found. I finally settled on the MoNiBloom Racing Simulator cockpit with TV mount. This setup only cost me around $160 before taxes. Now, I'll leave an affiliate link in the description of everything I talk about today, but as of this recording, this current rig is out of stock. I'll leave some alternative options that were similar to what 19K Fox built in his video last year. Now the next piece I needed was a chair. I went with the MoNiBloom Universal PVC bucket style red and black chair. This cost me around $200, and this chair was well worth it. It looks cool and is very comfortable, and Amazon right now does have it in stock. Now when I ordered it from Amazon, they sent me the wrong one. I thought about keeping it, but it just wasn't as cool. I'm glad I waited for this red one because I'm really happy with it. When it came to assembly, it wasn't an easy task. None of the parts or screws were labeled. You had to guess what screw to use every step of the way. I found an assembly video and I had to keep on zooming in just to see what they were doing, or what screw they were using, or what angle to put things at. And to top it off, some of the parts were damaged, and they wouldn't go together without some metal bending and a good amount of force. But that's what you get when it was so cheap. Despite the struggle, I did manage to get it all together. I already had in my possession a 55-inch TV, so I decided to use that. You can't really adjust the big TV on that kind of mount, but it worked fine. When I installed the seat, it had to be pushed all the way back for most people. If you have somebody larger using it, you're gonna have to disconnect the chair section from the rest of the frame. So some pros and cons of this rig. On the negative side, it is a chore trying to get in. You have to tilt the seat all the way back and kind of lay down before you can get in. But once you get in, it's pretty comfortable, but just make sure you have all your controls and keyboards or anything else you need before you get in, because this is definitely not made to get in and out very quickly. When it comes to height adjustment on the wheel, it isn't very good either. To bring the wheel higher, you have to bring it towards you, and to lower it, you have to push it away from you. You can't just bring it up and down. Also, some of the parts were damaged, and the instructions were quite difficult to understand. On the positive side, it is quite affordable. It's solid, looks good, feels cool to race, and it's comfortable once you get into it. All in all, I think it was a great purchase. All this brings me to, what am I hooking this all up to? So the wheel I picked up was a Logitech G923, like I said before. This wheel comes in two flavors, an Xbox and a PlayStation version. Although I had both consoles, I decided to go with the PlayStation version. The reason why I went with the PlayStation version is because I can play all the Xbox games on a PC. All the Forza games are available there, and any other racing game is going to be available on PlayStation or PC. Plus, there is an adapter you can get that will make it work with the Xbox console if you really want that. So in my setup, I have a gaming PC next to the rig for all my PC racers and emulators. Of course, the first thing I got going was the Fast and Furious with Techno Parrot. With the PC games, you have to do a lot of tweaking, especially when you go back and forth between arcade racers and sim racers. So I picked up this little keyboard and mouse combo from Five Below that I can use just to do some tweaking and stuff while I'm sitting in the cockpit. I also got a digital to analog audio converter, so whatever sound's coming out on my TV will go through the Logitech speakers I bought. I haven't found a good mounting system for these yet, so I'm on the lookout for that. Now, when people come over and just want to play, I switch over to PlayStation 4. You just plug in the wheel and it works. I haven't found a lot of arcade racers that work with the wheel, but games like Dirt 5, Drive Club, Gran Turismo, and Wreckfest work great out of the box. This is definitely the best solution if you just want to plug it in and play. So in conclusion, am I happy with my setup? Yes, definitely. Would I recommend somebody else go on this route? Yes. If you want something easy, plug and play, you can always use a console. If you want to dig deeper and get into racing sims and emulation, then there's a whole new world that will open up to you going that route. Plus, it's just plain fun, and that's what it's all about. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't hit that like button and subscribe, please do. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. I'll do my best to help you out. And now I'm going to leave you with some gameplay of me and my son playing some racing games. Enjoy.